Welcome to the Drag Drive Repeat Show, episode 90. Mr. Eric, can you believe that? Presented by Summit Racing. This is going to be wild. Yes, tonight, Reggie Moore, who drives the Organ Grinder, Jason Schaefer, and Angel in the Chicken Coop, and Scott Guthrie of Vets Unlimited are going to tell us and walk us through their trip across America from Florida to California and back in their hot rods. They stopped in Arkansas to pick up Reggie, and then they just drove these things, man. It's amazing. I can't wait to do this. They camped. They met some amazing people. They drove in the rain, which is a cool story. And they saw more than 5,000 miles through the windshields of their hot rods. Y'all, this is going to be a great show. Mr. Eric, hit the intro video. Let's get this thing going, dude.
All right, let's do it.
We're gonna pack things up and hit the road, try to make it the next day.
All right, guys. I hope you're ready for an amazing show tonight. Again, this is episode 90 of the Drag Drive Repeat Show presented by Summit Racing. Eric White and I are going to have a blast tonight. My name is Mike Narks. I'm the host of this Drag Drive Repeat Show and the Drag Drive Repeat News. And dude, I've been nerding out on some stats this week, man. I posted up something yesterday about Ned Dunphy being day 2 single pass Hot Rod Drag Week history holder, record holder, whatever. And it sent me down a rabbit hole. So big shout out to Brandon Parker out there who kind of put that just a little noodle in my brain there. And I tugged on it, man, a little bit. It was pretty cool. So, Mr. Eric White, my right hand man, introduce yourself. Tell them what you got going on, sir.
I am Eric White, the co-host of both the show and the news. Like you mentioned, right-hand man, which means I do everything drag, drive, repeat related. Also help out with the circuit, and I just finished tonight editing the rest of Hot Rod Drag Week photos. So for all you that have been waiting, Wednesday will be the last day of uploads for Hot Rod Drag Week. So there'll be part 2 coming out tomorrow, part 3 coming out Wednesday, and that will be a wrap on all those Hot Rod Drag Week photos.
Man, it's been wild. What did you post up? 4,000 photos, something like that, 4,500. Absolutely wild, dude.
Yeah, it's got to be pretty close to that.
Yeah, and great stuff, man. I have really, really enjoyed watching and looking at all that, and I'm thankful that I didn't have to edit any of those photos.
You should be.
Yeah, that's right. Well, guys, here's the deal. You know we can't do this without you guys. So listen to me. The show tonight, it's going to be big and fun. Please hit the share button as we come in here. Thank you for being our race car friends. Thank you for being part of this entire thing we call Drag Drive Repeat. Y'all, we're coming down to the last bit of 2024 and only ramping up more for 2025. So thank you for being here and being on this program with us and being part of this rocket ship we're riding on. And thank you so much to our sponsors, y'all. It's been a blessing to have this many people involved with our brand this year. It's been really, really cool. I'm getting like sentimental as we lead into Thanksgiving and all the things I'm thankful for and all that. So just want to say thank you to Summit Racing, Molly Motorsports, Driven Racing Oil, Car Change 3D, WAF Racing, Performer Built Transmissions, J-Wire Solutions, Howard's Cams, Sweet Patina, Power Tube TV, and Racing Junk Classifieds. Y'all, if we didn't have those folks, we couldn't do this like we're doing it right now for sure. So we appreciate them. And as you go into Black Friday this week, please shop with these guys. See if they've got something that fits your style and your needs and all that kind of stuff. So please spend your money with the folks that spend money with us. We appreciate them and appreciate you guys. And I don't know if you know this or not. I probably said this 90 times now, but Summit Racing Speed Legacy began in 1968, almost 60 years ago, as a one-man startup. It's now the world's speed shop and has 4 huge facilities 200 plus catalog editions. They feel your passion, they save you money, they deliver fast, and offer top notch customer service for more than 1,500 brands. Make sure to download the Summit Racing mobile app for easy access to speed parts. You can find them on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, but you can also find them on the On All Cylinders podcast, which is what I'll be listening to as I drive to see family over the next few days. If you like automotive discussions like this, you need to do the same. From humble origins to the social media lane, Summit Racing stands by your need for speed. Find everything for your project car and your family daily driver stuff at summitracing.com.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. And guys, you see how cool this person right here in this photo looks? That's probably the coolest photo that's been posted in the last 12 seconds here on Drag Driver Pete, because there was about 100 of them posted earlier that look great. But you can grab yourself a Drag Driver Pete Summit merchandise hoodie right here, or a t-shirt right there from summitracing.com. Make sure you're doing that. Throw that into your order that you're placing for Black Friday, and let's have some fun as we go into the last little bit of the season here. I'm going to bring them all on. Actually, let's bring them on one at a time. So I'm going to bring on Reggie Moore, who is our first of the driver of the Oregon Grinder, probably one of our favorite hot rods in all of Drag and Drive. So, Mr. Reggie, introduce yourself and give us a recap of the drive, man, of what you drive.
To drive?
No. We're not going to talk about the drive yet, because I want all you guys on to talk about the drive. But what did you drive?
I drove my 1930 Model A. I bought this car with my paper route money when I was 12 years old, which would be like next week. It'll be 53 years now. So I've had it a while.
Yeah.
It's got a 454 in it, Super T10 4-speed transmission. And then just this last year, it's had a 12-bolt rear end in it for the last 22 years, but I kept having trouble with that the last couple of times out. And so just this past summer, just before we did Rocky Mountain in June, I got a hold of these guys at Redbird Speed. Oh, wait, I got their shirt on. Anyway.
Oh, nice.
And they helped me out with the 9-inch rear end. And then for this trip, it was kind of one of my dreams, to have the 9-inch someday, and then 9-inch rear end, and then be able to swap out gears, for the highway or for drag racing, or 8th mile, a half a race or something like that. So now I'm there, man. They sent me some another gear set right before we left for Las Vegas, so that kept my RPMs down to around 2,400 RPMs. I'm getting 14.5 miles a gallon, and we were running 70 and 80 a lot of the time. Just having a good time, man. It's still brutal though, crud. I mean, my seat's got this much padding in it.
Yeah, it was probably down like that by the time you got done. Well, let's bring on Mr. Scott Guthrie and hear what he drove for this trip. Oh, Mr. Scott, I think you're.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
We got you.
Okay. Well, I was driving my dad's '66 Corvette. I've got pictures of me at 4 years old in that car with my dad, and he sold it when I turned 18 to another fireman at the time. Back in this is '86. All right, standing there, 18 years old, crying like a baby because this car got sold. That was my life growing up with Dad. Well, about 30 years later, in '07, I found it in Long Island, New York, and bought it back. So this car has a lot of family history. It was originally silver. Somebody painted it retail red over the years, just to, it got through a Corvette dealership, went through Chicago, New York. It had a heck of a life, probably 30 years out of our family. Wow. And then finding it, getting it back. And what's so cool is my daughters, I have 3 daughters, they've got to ride in the car for pageants, parades, homecoming, all that stuff. So they all rode on Dad's car. Oh, so cool, that car just meant a lot. And when I was about 10 or 11, I had taken a trip with Dad from Indiana all the way down to California, up the coast, back through Mount Rushmore, Yellowstone, all that stuff. So this was a thing that usually I drive the Pumpkin, that orange beater Corvette that it's ugly. I pull the same trailer with it for Rocky Mountain Race Week or Sick Week. It's faster. It's I kind of missed it when it came to the drag strip, but I just got to take Dad's vet through California, and I had the most comfortable ride. Look at those cars. My car was a Cadillac compared to what these guys were driving.
You got that right.
We were on the radio. We got in real bad rainstorm, and Jason's yelling, "Scott's cheating. He's got the windshield wipers on." And I'm turning AC on, trying to clear the windshield, and they're using the t-shirts and towels to keep the rain off or the fog off the windshield. But just to take this trip in Dad's car, and it's just a stock 327, 350 horse. Originally was a 4-speed. I put a TKO 5-speed in it. It's got Phytec fuel injection, which we'll hear about that later with some fuel pump issues. I've got a nickname from the group, and I really don't want to share that publicly, but it's got to do with 2 pumps. Anyway,
Nice.
So yeah, we had the only problems I had was fuel pumps, but just to get to drive Dad's car out to California, and then with these guys, it's crazy what they do in their cars that I'm kicked back, relaxing, eating snacks, having a good time, taking pictures, talking on the phone, and I can't even hear these guys, if he call on the radio.
That's awesome. Well, let's bring on the third person to make this trip with you guys, Mr. Jason Schaefer and Miss Angel. Love this dog and this dude. Jason's one of my favorite people in all of Drag and Drive. And man, tell us who you are and tell us about the chicken coop.
Well, first of all, I'm pretty darn lucky because, Michael, I think me and you met the very first year both of us were doing this.
Oh, man. Oh, yeah.
Met at Sick Week. And I was one of the first guys on one of your interviews. So, I don't know. This is a really special moment for me. I like watching how far you've come in these years.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that.
So I'll just tell you, man, my story is pretty simple. It's a Model A Ford that I built when I was in my early 20s. And so back in 93, I brought this thing home. Went through small blocks and big blocks and blowers and nitrous. And all these years, the cars always look like crap, but I just beat the hound out of it and love to drive it. So it's 29 Ford, 454. This is what it is right now, and has been for 3 or 4 years now. It's 454 junk motor with Chinese heads, and I spend a lot of time on tolerances, and I pay a lot of attention to just the clearances and the tune. So it's not a big money setup, but it's been very reliable. And I don't know, as uncomfortable as the car is, my mind is busy the whole time I'm driving it, because the whole time I'm thinking, what can I do to the idle circuitry of these 900 carburetors to get up over 14 miles at a gallon? Can I run a quarter mile on 87 octane? I mean, I'm super impressed with the really, really fast guys, but the crew we're running with, we've got very streetable cars. Mm-hmm. So we'll talk about it in a minute, but the reason we did this trip, really, it's just because our cars are streetable and we love driving them, and that's the way it should be. If you're on the brink of wondering if you can make it 500 or 1,000 or 1,500 miles, it's that hybrid race car feeling. I want a real street car that'll really do it on real pump gas. And man, this event was a life changer. It really was. It opened my eyes for a lot of things.
Well, and I think that's one thing about you guys doing this. And I mean, obviously, this wasn't a typical drag and drive. That's what we kind of follow along with. But this story, I think, is going to end up in the long run being such a great story for 3 dudes to jump in like really bitchin' hot rods and drive across the country. So let's get into that. Like, we talked about what you drove. We talked about kind of what the powertrains and things like that are. But how did this whole thing come about?
I think we should let Reggie start on that.
Well, I just like going to the SEMA show each year, and I don't like flying. I like driving. So normally I'll drive my Suburban or whatever. But a couple of years ago, I just thought, man, I'm driving my Model A out. I mean, I'm getting to the age now where I need to go ahead and do some of this stuff I've been dreaming of doing, or else it's still going to be on my list when I'm gone. So
Yeah,
that's
you
kind of
don't
what
you
I'm
don't
doing.
have that list.
Huh?
You don't want to have that list. That's
No,
for
man, I'm emptying my list out now, man. It's not going to have anything left over, but that's what started it. And Larry went with me last year in the Humrod, and man, we had a good time. And so this year when I decided to go, he wasn't able to go, and Scott and Jason jumped right in real quick, and that's pretty much all it is. My dad's family was from Southern California, so I started going out there in a '64 Chevy 2 wagon when I was 5 years old, and we didn't miss a summer till I was 22, I think. So
wow.
I also love the idea of going to California, doing Route 66. I've done it so many times, and so just a whole bunch of little things. But I love doing that trip, and I love driving the car, and I love hanging out with these guys here. Pretty much all the guys. I mean, we got Nick, but we're trying to get used to him. But anyway,
And
all the
Drives
other
a-
guys are great.
he
right,
drives the
Nick is
yellow
in
Corvette,
Oregon or Washington or something, right?
Arizona.
Arizona. That's awesome.
Yeah, same thing, same thing.
Yeah, pretty close. It's a long way. I knew it was a
Yeah.
long trip. Whenever we were in Tulsa this year, and he had talked about being on the road a couple of days already.
Now I'll tell you, Michael. The SEMA started it, and Scott, being a business owner, especially, and Scott's up to date. Scott's way more on top of it than I am with the latest, greatest of the industry. Scott was all over SEMA, and so I think that's where Reggie put the spotlight on SEMA. Scott jumped right in. I said, guys, I don't really want to do the SEMA thing. I've been to Vegas a lot, and prior Air Force, and I was just out there earlier this year. It wasn't until they said California, and it was like this bright light came on. I said, man, to drive my car from coast to coast would be the ticket. So that's where I jumped in.
Yeah, I thought that
we
was the
had-
coolest thing. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
but
thought that was the coolest thing, man, that you got to go sand to sand.
absolutely. But then we had to drag Scott into the California part.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Scott-
I'm not a California fan at all, but it was
Well,
really,
Scott still works for a living.
yeah.
He had a business to run.
Well,
Yep.
we and Reggie and Jason became my employees so we could go to SEMA, and I had
Yep.
to hire them for a short time.
He's a pretty good
But-
boss.
Yeah, but I didn't want to go to California, but I'm glad I did. Watching Reggie jump in the ocean and break his toe, and that's another story. And the pictures that I got that I can't share is awesome. So
Yeah, let's not pull that one out.
But
So,
I mean, to have a trip with these knuckleheads here, and we all giggle like little schoolgirls anyway when we all get together, and then we get Nick together and Joe and Ernie. You remember Ernie has the Rotson, the
Mhm.
orange Datsun pickup. He came. We all met at Nick's house. That added to our stories. So we just getting together with our drag and drive group, and we
Well,
missed a lot of people that didn't go, but it's just the road trip is what makes it,
But the
Mhm.
fact that your dad took you to California in that car, I was like, dude, you have to bring that car. That
Yeah.
was,
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool that his dad was with him, in spirit in that car. And
Yeah.
And
So
see,
there
my tag says "For You, Dad." And,
Oh, cool.
So, and if you remember, Mike, I met you for the first time. I had my dad's 66 at Race Week. It was the first 2.0, and that was the first time Reggie and Jason had gone, and I drove my dad's 66, and then after that, I started driving the Pumpkin. So,
That's right. I remember that.
yeah, you
Right.
had that burnout car. You had the squirters on the
2.0.
back tires just for doing burnouts.
Yep. Oh yeah, the Narcs cart still out here. It
Nice.
gets a transmission next week. Promise. I promise I'm putting the transmission back in it next week.
so when we kick this thing off, Michael, we leave Florida, me and Scott, right? We got 600 miles just to start off. And
Yeah. And of course, we cannot set a date. When it's me and Jason, there's no date and time. We will shoot. It's like, hey, we're going to leave. What was it, Tuesday night or Tuesday afternoon? I was
it
like,
ended
no,
up
man, I
being
can't.
Wednesday morning. Yeah,
Okay.
Wednesday
Yep.
morning, yeah.
at
And
2.
then he's like, okay, let's leave in the afternoon. I was like, dude, I still got jobs in the shop. I still got invoices to do. I'm trying to get caught up. Plus, I'm like, I don't even know if the car's really ready. I'm hooking up the trailer, throwing crap out on the ground because they're still trashing it from race week, and just trying to get it all going. And so Jason, we finally leave 3 o'clock in the morning, just because Reggie's having a cookout. All
That's
right, for all
right.
the hot rod guys, and I'm like, okay, so now we're leaving 12 hours earlier from what we scheduled, and so 3 o'clock in the morning, he comes to my shop. We meet. No, we met at the gas station, of course, and
Are
he's
you
supposed to.
starting to see why we brought the box of adult diapers?
so
'Cause
so anyway, we got to Reggie's house in what, 12 hours, which is
yeah,
really
well,
a
no,
good record.
it was honestly it was closer to 14, I think, but it was 600 miles first day.
Yeah,
And so this kicks it off, and you nailed it. It's so we can go have dinner with the rest of the Dragon Drive family. Our Dragon Drive family, half of them's in Arkansas, the other half's in Arizona. So I don't know if you got pictures of that, Michael, but man, we pulled some hot rods up on Reggie's hilltop and did a photo shoot with them. I showed them on some of my Facebook on the first of like 26 pages that I did posts. But then we all cruised downtown Hot Springs together. So day one, we do 600 miles. Then we cruise with 7 or 8 cool hot rods. And we don't pull up to the pizza joint. Reggie's bright idea is let's pull onto the front step.
sidewalk. Yeah, right by the
Explain
front
that one,
window.
Reggie.
Oh, that
Oh,
was
wow.
funny.
That's so cool, man.
So
Yeah, the
anyway,
waitress
the
was like,
sheriff-
"Hey, the cops are gonna come," and we're like, "Okay, I'm from out of town. I don't care if they give me a ticket. Mail it to me."
Yeah.
but it made a great photograph. So we piled him up on the front stoop of a very busy pizza establishment right in the middle of town, blocked traffic for 20 minutes to get all the cars in there, and we had a great dinner. It was
Yeah, I'm sure nobody cared, and there were so many pictures taken of that. You know what I mean? Like you'll see that for years. That's awesome.
yeah, they really were. It was awesome.
Well, so let's talk about 600 miles day one. Like that's pretty studly to start with.
Well, in the vet, it was fine. In the chicken coop, it's like 3,000 miles. So I think his hair was still brown when we started.
Yeah,
So
I ain't
um,
kidding you. It was
and Angel, she, instead of aging 12 years, she aged about 30 years each trip, I think.
Yeah.
look at her. She's over here about to tell you off, Scott. She's like, "What? Not me." Woke her up from her nap.
Right. Let's talk about that first trip because I want to really tell the story from once you guys get to Reggie's house in the second half, which we're going to go to here in a minute.
Right.
The like you guys are coming. What part of Florida are you in? And then what big cities are you guys having to come through?
So I'm at a right close to Destin, Florida. So when I say Gulf or coast to coast, it's that upper rim of the Gulf Coast all the way to the West Coast. And I've driven it all the way to the East Coast. And, so when I leave my house, it's only 20, 30 minutes up to Scotts. We're all surrounded by military bases. So they're very tolerant of the noise. So, and quite honestly, I had my car quieted down. It's as quiet as it's ever been because of Angel. So I put exhaust and extra baffles on it. And what Scott didn't tell you on the way to Reggie's is that we did have to stop Scott fuel pump number 1.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
let's hear that story.
Okay, so yeah, it's still dark. We had left at 3 o'clock in the morning, and we got up to, what was it? We weren't even 150 miles out, and I felt some bucking going on and just surging. And I've got that little display because of the fuel injection, and I'm looking and I'm seeing it go lean, and I'm like, oh geez, what's going on? And so I don't have a fuel pressure gauge. It's just a daily driver, that kind of thing. And that car will run a 14.0 on a good day, but that's about it. But I had a suspicion because when we stopped and got gas, the that fuel pump was not sounding happy, and it's a it's a frame rail mount, and from what I understand, frame rail mount, fuel injection, high pressure fuel pumps don't last that long. But I've had it in there for 5-6 years since I first did the Phytech. But of course, it wants to fail, and because Dragon drives change you, I have two of everything, and so I always have a fuel pump, and hence my nickname, Two Pumps. And
Two
we-
Well,
bucks. Yeah.
yeah,
He wears
Two
an
pumps.
He needs to wear a STP hat for Scott Two Pumps.
yeah.
That's awesome.
So now everybody, yeah, I'm gonna get a T-shirt now. This is great. So,
Yes, it is great.
and my wife's like, "What does that mean?" Yeah, okay, we really don't.
She
need to
knows
go
what it
there.
means
Yeah, she already knows.
better than
Of course.
anybody.
And my daughter's watching this, so this is really gonna gross
Easy.
her out.
We're talking about fuel pumps. We're talking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're up in the middle of. We're not even to Hattiesburg yet. I don't think we're running up a kind of a diagonal northwest angle, and we get to this gas station, and it's bucking and surging, and I'm like, okay, we'll make it up the hill. Nope, it dies.
Mm.
So Jason here with the chicken coop and a trailer hooked onto the front of my car and had to pull me about 100 yards into the parking lot. All right, and I'm glad we don't have any video of that, but he's got videos of interviewing me. Okay, Scott, what's going on? And I'm like, yeah, okay, great.
Yes.
Just check
So-
my Facebook. We can
But
put
anyway,
some more on there.
fuel pump, and that was number one at 150 miles, and that was before we got the Reggies. But that was part of the time that it took out of our drive. So, that was what, 45 minutes.
Yeah,
an
it's
hour.
that. It was fast on that. What takes us a long time? We're getting old. You go in
Yeah.
for a cup of coffee, and then I meet people that I met during my Dragon drives. And you can go to the Facebook pages again, see all the details there. But like
Mhm.
this young guy who's a songwriter who I met and interviewed and put him on Facebook 2 years ago when I was coming home from Rocky Mountain Race Week. That guy
That's
shows
awesome.
up at the gas station while we're working on Scott's car. So it's God puts all these people in your life, and it's like it's all part of the journey. The journey is.
Mhm.
We felt like those paparazzi taking our photographs and videos, and on the way back through, we were seeing videos that people in that small town put of us on Instagram.
Oh, how cool.
Yeah, and so it's like our passing through there lifted people's spirits, and it got
Yeah.
them inspired, and it was cool.
And
Well,
there's several stops like that along our whole journey that we had. We'll get into it, but we had somebody taking pictures for the paper, and I was like, you must really be a small town if you want us in the paper.
Well,
Yeah,
that's cool. And like this photo here, I think is a good one too, because it shows y'all's route, right? So what's cool about this, you did take the same route from about the edge of, Jackson, Mississippi there, but from there, it's two completely different routes. So as you think of the hundreds or thousands of cars that you passed or passed you on the highway, think about the stories. Like y'all converted people to car guys and girls from that trip, just from being on that trip and having fun yourself. I think that's just super cool.
Well, what's so cool about all of us is you'll get people with kids come up, and Reggie puts them in the car, and when I've had the pumpkin and all that, same with Jason, we put the kids in the car. Hell, Jason's even picked up strange women and put them in the car and took them for a ride.
We do want to thank all of our race car friends who have been part of this whole program, man. In 90 episodes for the Drag Driver Pete Show. We don't even count the news because they're based on dates. So I think we've probably done 30-ish of those this year. So, who knows where we're at this year. We're probably close to 70 episodes this year, live shows just like this at 2 hours on Wednesday nights or on the show. Can't say Wednesday night because we're on Monday night here, and then an hour on Saturday morning. So, I want to say thank you guys so much for being part of our Race Car Friends. This is a big deal, being part of the Race Car Friends group. And then also thank you to our sponsors: Summit Racing, Molly Motorsports, Driven Racing Oil, Car Change 3D, WAF Racing, Performer Built Transmissions, J-Wire Solutions, who we just talked about, Howard's Cams, who we're going to talk about in just a minute, Sweet Patina, who has the best hand wipes, bar none, on the market, the TKO hand cleaning wipes. If you're not ordering those for your favorite car guy or girl, just please jump in there and do that. PowerTube TV and Racing Junk Classifieds. We can't do without these sponsors. So if you're spending money this holiday season, please try and spend it with these guys. And then this is the part of the gentleman's agreement, right? Here's the deal. I love doing nerdy stuff like I talked about earlier, but it takes a ton of time, takes a lot of energy and all that kind of stuff. Takes a lot of money as well. Eric knows that, buying new equipment, everything this year. So the gentleman's agreement is, guys, you do your part and hit that subscribe or follow button. We'll do our part and keep throwing out this 3 hours of live stream every week. And I don't know if people noticed it earlier, but there were 1,200 videos on our YouTube channel.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
So that's a lot. We started that February of 2022. So you start doing the math on that. It's 3 years, 400 videos a year. More than a video a day is posted to our YouTube channel. So this takes a lot of time. This is my full-time deal. This is all I live for right here, is talking to you guys. So please hit the subscribe button, hit the follow button wherever you're watching this.
And
Yeah,
only
all
when they're 75 years and
Right.
older, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's just that he doesn't have an age limit.
Yeah. Yeah, that lady had a blast too. I saw those videos, Jason.
Those
That
are
lady
great,
had a
man.
blast.
I've met some cool people doing this, and
Yep.
you got to get them out there with you, you know.
Well, and a lot of times, again, it goes back to the ability for them to touch and feel that car, and then you tell them, hey, we're 1,000 miles, or we're 3,000 miles, or 5,000 miles into this trip, and they just go, wow, you drove this? They just think that that's possible,
It's mostly Jason and Reggie. They're like, you actually drove these out here?
I don't know, man. I have this picture pulled up of Scott's setup here. Let me get back to it. This is a pretty cool setup with the we obviously you're known for the Corvette trailer. That's part of that's unlimited deal, but like this is pretty cool setup here to be towing this. I can only imagine folks coming up behind you guys on the interstate in
it's
the
funny.
late model minivans cruising,
People
and
are
there's
sl-
just like they're just on the side of the car. What the heck is going on?
They're slamming on
thing-
their brakes.
Yeah, the
The
thing
fast
is,
lane.
when he's pulling it with the 66, you can't see the 66 when you're behind him. And he's always eating these sunflower seeds and throwing them out. And from directly behind him, it looks like he's driving the white car and throwing them out the white car. The craziest thing, messing with your head.
That's awesome. And then they come out and they're like, that's only a half a car.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you should see the look on their face that they're trying to figure it out. And I've had so many people say, "Are you restoring that car?" I'm like, "There's no front end." It's like there's no. It's a trailer. It's
Right.
funny.
How funny. Well, guys, as we lead into the second half of the show, I'm going to let Eric do our race car friends deal, and then we'll get back into telling some of these stories, man. I can't wait. We've got some ad reads to do to thank some of our sponsors, and then back into this, man. This is going to be a fun show.
All right, we jumping into that now?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. So WAF Racing is a collective of engineers, racers, and hot rod enthusiasts who have come together in one place to create custom parts, tools, and electrical gadgets. With passions for racing, hot rodding cars, and bikes, both classics and new, you just never know what they might be working on. Check them out at waf-racing.com, and then check out their social medias, Facebook and Instagram at WAF Racing.
Yeah.
So then
go ahead.
these guys are going to be at PRI, so they are bringing some of the products to PRI, and we will have those displayed in our booth. So you'll actually get to come up, pick them up, take a look at them, feel them, see the quality of the products that they're producing. One of those parts is the newly upgraded carb toolkit. So there's a video that we're going to play here in just a second, so you can kind of see the new product.
Today, we'd like to introduce you to our improved carburetor toolkit. Built off of our original, this one is a little larger footprint, a little thinner height, but offers a lot more storage than our original kit. After a year of using the original, a lot of things we loved about it, but we did see some opportunities for improvement, so here we are. So new one has a snapping lid. Open it up, it carries all the same tools, in addition to our idle adjusting screwdriver, whether using the original version or the Pro version, both fit in the case. Inside the case, tools are easy to access. They come out nice and easy. We have our new and improved combination wrench, which also has a feature for installing or holding jet extensions during a jet change. Our larger jet block holds 16 sets of main jets. Air bleed block holds 24 air bleeds. We've got 3 power valves, 6 squirters, a bunch of pump cams. We still hold metering block and fuel bowl gaskets, plus all the smaller gaskets. Another nice feature is the lid is designed to stay flat when it's open and pretty sturdy. So when you're working on the carburetor at the track, you've got a really nice tray to set stuff in as it comes apart and goes together. For those of you who already purchased our original kit, we are offering an upgrade kit for a really reasonable price on the website. In the kit, of course, you get the box, you get our new wrench, you get the air bleed block and the jet block. All the tools you already own will fit in this. So we hope that guys who bought the original kit will upgrade. We hope folks who are seeing this for the first time will really, really like our new kit and snatch one up for the holidays.
Dude, I'm telling you, those guys, that's money right there. That's, I don't do anything carbureted anymore. There's a lot of guys that do, and that's right up their alley of something easy to carry with them and all that kind of stuff.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, guys, listen, PowerTube TV is a big part of our program here. We talk about them all the time, but one thing that's great is they are going to be at PRI. They've got a huge booth, 50 by 10. This is one of the biggest booths in PRI. It's going to be awesome. You got to get by and see them. So PowerTube, rev up your engines with PowerTube TV, the ultimate destination for automotive entertainment. Stream for free on the web, Roku, mobile apps, and more. You can catch replays of our show. So this show right here will be on, and exclusive content from other top creators. And they also feature episodes like Pinks and Pastime, who are getting new shows as well. PowerTube TV isn't just a platform, it's a community. Join the content creator development program like us and be part of be part of something special. I mean, it really is a great deal. Ray and the team over there are awesome. So you can find more at watchpttv.com. And again, you're going to have to come by and see them. We'll be there on Saturday doing several hours of content that morning on the live stream. So it's going to be really fun to talk with them and get through all of that content as well. But we're in the second half of the episode here. So, Mr. Eric, lead us in, sir.
Yep. So we've got the Howard's Cam community segment. So we're going to go ahead and play this promo video, and then we'll jump into the community segment where we'll get back to doing some interviews with these guys.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Harris from the Monoxide Podcast. Real quick, Howard's Cams was founded as a racing cam manufacturer almost 80 years ago when Howard Johansson created Howard's Power and Racing Equipment in 1945. Howard's Cams has always used on-track experience to design the most powerful designs, and today they have an even greater group of experienced racers in circle track, drag racing, road race, mud bog, and marine. They use all this input plus the most advanced computer software to design the most competitive race-winning products. From pioneers in drag racing and oval track to cutting-edge marine development, Howard's Cams is at the forefront of the industry. So make sure to reach out to our friend, Luke B, for your next valve train upgrade.
All right. So in the community segment, we are going to give a recap here. So we're with Reggie, Jason, and Scott. So we'll start at the top here. Just do a quick intro again, who you are and what you drive. So we'll start up at the top with Jason.
All right. So I'm Jason Schaefer. I'm the crazy one that rides with the dog, Angel. She's laying here on the floor next to me, waiting for me to pet her. Here we go. And we drive a 29 Ford Model A, 454, big block, 671 blower, 2,900 carbs that has just pulled off a 1050 in the quarter on 87 octane. Just a regular old street car.
That's awesome. Reggie, again, who you are, what you drive.
Reggie Moore, 1930 Model A. It's a late model compared to Jason's 29. 454 Super T10 4-speed, 9-inch Ford rear end.
Awesome.
That's about it. I run a slow 11-second time.
Giant wheelies.
There you go. And then Scott, same thing.
Well, this trip I drove my dad's 66. Most people know me with the ugly, the Great Pumpkin that we run on Drag and Drive. But this trip we did my dad's 66 Corvette, 327, 350 horse, but we upgraded to a 5-speed TKO 5-speed and of course Phytech fuel injection. Pulling that trailer about 1,500 pounds. We got about 14 miles a gallon until we hit the mountains, and then took a lot of fuel and a couple cool off stops. So yeah, that little 327 did not like the mountains pulling that trailer.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think Corvettes were made to tow 1,500 pounds.
Nonsense. They're a family vehicle.
Hey, there were some dads that drove those for sure as dad vehicles. Well, one thing I know that a lot of people are thinking in their head, they just haven't asked it yet, is that how did you guys afford to do this, and how did you basically afford all those hotel rooms and stuff? And so I want to play a quick video that Jason, I think, sent over about the Hot Rod Hotel that Sam's Club provides. So I'm going to play this, and then we're going to tell the story.
Here we are, Roswell, New Mexico. This is Sam's Hotel. I just called the front desk and asked for a wake-up call. They didn't know what I was talking about. Sam's Hotel has got the organ grinder. He's putting his bungalow together for a warm night's sleep. Have a generator and electric heat. And then Scott Guthrie from Vets Unlimited is putting his Corvette hotel together. He'll be sleeping right down in here. Got a 4-inch memory foam. It's gonna be 35 degrees today. So Scott's getting all set up. Chicken coops back there. And right here in the Sam's parking lot, the sheriff's over there. But they said it's cool. They gave us thumbs up. This is a load of manure on the back of my trailer. That's right. And underneath the tarp. Hey, you in there? Yes, she is. Sorry, get the light there. There you are. Peekaboo, Angel. Yeah, she's already crashed.
How fun.
Yeah.
So,
That's awesome.
yeah.
And
So I
my
know you
wife
guys.
said no way she would ever go. If we're not staying at Marriott's and getting room service, she's not going. So this is definitely a guy's. I don't know why we do this, but we do.
Well, I'll tell you this much. After a trip where I've kind of been hanging out with Jesse Fox and he camps, man, I really feel like that it drives a little bit of that. I don't know. I feel like we're nomadic people, right? Obviously, some of us are nomads. I feel like I am. But you guys really portray the phrase I say all the time. We're like a nomadic hot rod tribe just cruising across the country. It's amazing. So that's pretty cool.
We're manly men.
Yes, I will agree. 35 degrees. That's about my cutoff though, but I'm not into that.
It was 27 at Flagstaff and snow on the ground.
Yeah.
And that night, I tried to go on in to meet my wife at the warm hotel, and I got caught in a snowstorm going up the mountain in Flagstaff. Made it to Las Vegas about midnight. But I did text him and say, "Hey, I made it to a warm bed. I'm not sleeping out in the weather." So the one
Yeah,
night,
we didn't really need that text.
yeah,
We deleted it.
yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, "Yeah, whatever."
But no, there was a 20-car pileup that night. You know, I mean, that was a dangerous night to be crossing the pass. But that just shows you the extreme of the situation. We went through 2 solid days of rain when we left Reggie's. Then we get to Arizona and we're dealing with sleet and ice. And Reggie and I were like, with no windshield wipers, Scott, we were just praying for him to be safe. But there was no way we were going to be able to keep up, man. So
Yeah.
we pulled tarps over the cars and got a good night's sleep, you know?
Well,
Yeah,
and
we were driving along there, and we'd already been in rain, and it kind of blows right off the windshield, and it's just about to get dark. It's kind of like where it wasn't dark, but it wasn't light. And I'm driving along there, and all of a sudden the water's not blowing off my windshield, and I'm going, "What in the world?" And then you can kind of see it's just ice on there. And I thought, man, we're fixing to pull the plug on this trip tonight.
Yeah.
Because it really was getting dangerous. It's kind of stupid.
Well, and
So-
that's one thing that's great about camping is you're literally ready to go anywhere. You're not, oh man, we've already booked this hotel 100 miles away. We got to make this 100 miles. So
Yeah, we
Yeah.
try to stay a lot of times at the Love's truck stop so we can get a good hot shower in the morning, or it feels a little bit safer. But there was times where we just pull off the side of the road.
yeah.
That night, we didn't know where we were. We woke up and we were standing on the corner in Winslow, Arizona. True story.
We were
That's
sleeping
awesome.
on the corner. We weren't standing.
Right.
But the big thing is, I think all of us, especially with my dad's vet, I was worried about, if it got stolen somewhere or
Right.
anything like that. I can't replace that car,
Yep.
Yeah.
and that was a big deal to me. And when we all have unique rides, and what happened with the guys that were in the hotel, they lost a couple cars, and
Yeah.
if that was my dad's car, I mean, that would be
Mm.
like me losing one of my kids,
Yeah.
And so I had to work it out I stayed at the Flamingo, and after a couple hours of back and forth and talking to the right person, I had to pay a lot of extra money to get valet to let me park a car and a trailer by the front door, which it all worked out. So I knew it was safe. But during
Mhm.
SEMA, I was a nervous wreck. It's like my wife, booked the hotel, and where are we going to leave the car?
Yeah.
All that kind of stuff. So when you're camping with the car, it's not going to get stolen.
Yeah, that's what Dave said too. He's like, you don't have to worry about your stuff getting ripped off if you're in it.
Yeah, well, they have a big surprise if they steal it when they find you in the back of the trailer sleeping.
Yeah, yeah. You an angel in the back. Ah, wait.
Yeah.
Hold
Well,
on,
when they
please.
open up the door to my trailer, they wouldn't get a happy surprise. That's for sure.
Yeah.
See, that's a good example of our group right there. That's Hot Rod Dave. He lives over in Atlanta.
Yep.
And on the first sick week, we were kind of camped out underneath the bleachers, and he was by himself across the way in a little 64 El Camino that I was just drooling over. And, Scott and I, we ended up talking to him, and man, he's one of our group now. And Jason's even been by his house, and that's how our group keeps growing every year, man. They're just good people out there. And we hadn't seen Dave in a while. We miss him. He had to get back to the real life.
Yeah, well, hopefully we can catch up
He's
with
not
him
as old as
sometime. Maybe
us.
sick week this year would be awesome to see Dave again.
Yeah.
Yep, and Jason, you were telling that story earlier, and I sent that picture earlier just because I was going through Sick Week 2022 photos, trying to find one that I was looking for specifically. But I saw that photo of all the cool hot rods together with Justin Chestnut. That was I rode with him that year in the Model A, and man, it's just
Yeah, I
it's
remember
really
that.
cool. Yep,
Yep.
it's really really cool, and that's what Drag and Drive does for everybody. Well, here's what I would love to do. We got about 45 minutes here, and I would love to work through the photos that you guys sent over. So what I would like is maybe we'll put a photo up on the screen, and you guys can kind of tell us what's going on with it. The struggle is going to be there's about 20 photos here, and we've got about 45 minutes. So, if we need to stay on one, you'll need to tell us. But if not, we'll just kind of keep rolling through these about every 2 minutes or something like that.
I was
Cool.
just glad Jason was there because he took a whole lot of videos and did
Yeah.
a real good job of talking through them. And some of them were kind of goofy, but they were our trip.
Yeah.
And I didn't stop long enough to take a good picture here and there. And I know Scott didn't take many, but
Yeah, I took some, but my phone is not the greatest. It's full.
we had a
memory
good
and all
time at
that.
Famoso, man. And that kind of just happened. I mean, that was like 3 weeks before we even left. I was planning on going to California by myself because I have one cousin still left there, and it's too close not to go by. But
Mhm.
one afternoon, man, Dennis Taylor called me, and he said, "Hey, Alex wanted to know if you guys wanted to go join in with their Hot Rod Garage days at the track." And I'm thinking, what kind of dumb question is that? Of course we are, man. We're 300 miles away, which is 1,500 miles closer than normal. So yeah, we're there. And that ended up not being what they thought it was even going to be, but it was still a good time. It kind of turned into a track event instead of the Hot Rod Garage TV guys, but it was still a good time, and it was fun to run on the old track there. Got to run into some people I had been talking to for a couple of years, and that's another thing cool about this, man. When I go on these trips, I try to run into these people that we're talking to all the time on the internet, that have another channel or somewhere else. Like Anthony's up there in Kansas. We went and saw him one year and spent the night at his place. And then on this trip, I texted Olivia and Danny, and I said, "Man, we're going to be in your area, or we're going to be at the Hot Rod Garage thing. Are you guys going to that?" They said, "Yeah, we're going to be there." So they took their little Charger and they did real good with the Charger, drove it there, drove it all the way back. And that's what set all of us apart, man, was all these guys were coming in here with these big pushers and big old fancy trailers and all. And then here comes 8 or 10 of us, man. It was all drag and drive people like
the circus
guys
came to
Spain
town.
and the guys from War. They all drove their cars up, and then Olivia and Danny drove their car, and here we come in our car, and we really did stick out like a sore thumb, man.
That's awesome. And Olivia Scafaldi, something like her. Yeah, what's her YouTube channel?
Gnarly Garage.
Gnarly Garage.
Gnarly Speed Shop.
Gnarly Speed Shop.
And man, they're so kind to us. I mean, we talked about breaking my toe earlier. That had just happened a couple of hours before we went by their place. And I had set my shoes up on these rocks way up high, and Jason was standing up there, and all of a sudden this big giant wave come in, and it took my shoes, and they got soaked and everything, so I couldn't wear them. But I needed something, man, because my toe was literally broke. And man, Danny just pulls a pair of shoes off and lets me have them, man.
That's awesome.
Giving you the shirt off their back, but he gave me the shoes off his feet, man. I've got them on right now, in fact. Anyway.
Even cooler, man. That's awesome.
They're just good people, man. They've got good content. They got a great channel, and just 15 minutes from the beach, man. What kind of life is that? Wow.
I'm telling you,
they treated us like family, and we slept there. Me and Jason camped out on the floor in their shop, and they treated us like we were family or celebrities rolling in there. And I'd never met them before. It was a good time.
Cool. Yeah, they're great. I first started following her, and I haven't followed her in a while to see the new channel. But she has a friend that runs a 4-Speed Films or something like that, and I met him in a trip I was going to take out to California and for another sponsor. And man, great kids. They're kids. They're like in their early 20s, if they're even 20s now. I mean, like they were young back then, so I can only imagine now. That's so cool, and they have the coolest car scene out there for sure. All right, walk us through what's going on here. Looks like you guys are driving down the road. There's a beach. What's up?
Pacific Coast Highway 101, baby.
That's
Pacific Ocean to our right and mountains to the left.
Now check this out, Mike. We pull into first spot. Reggie just out of the blue just jams the brakes, pulls in. I'm like, what the heck? So I'm on his tail. We pull in. We're stopped under this beautiful boulder, right? This monument rock. And there's a guy in a bright orange t-shirt. And he says, hey, you guys can't park here. He's Hollywood film crew. And he says, what's his name? The guy who plays Thor. Dadgummit.
Hemsworth.
Hemsworth.
Yeah.
Hemsworth will be pulling into this parking lot in the next couple minutes with a movie truck following him.
Sorry, I'm trying to get to this photo you're talking about.
Yeah, with the rock. That one.
Yeah. So anyway, we drive around to the other side of the rock and we park, and that's where Reggie breaks his foot, and we're having a great time photo shoot. But we're literally potentially gonna be in the background on an upcoming movie called Crime 101. Because
they couldn't have afforded us, though.
Yeah, as we were pulling out, the movie truck went by, so it's a good chance it caught us on the film in the background.
How cool! We'll be looking for y'all celebrity from there.
That's Point Mugu.
Point Mugu. I think I have these out of order here.
Yeah, it's a pretty famous rock around there where a lot of the hot rod clubs will drive to and take pictures, and it's really pretty neat.
Yeah, we are definitely doing that as a family trip one time. I don't know if we'll be in a hot rod, but we're definitely going to be out there for sure. There's just so much cool stuff that goes on.
While we were just standing there on the side, man, it was a big pod of dolphins come by, and I think that's on one of the videos too. But that was pretty neat. And then the waves were so high at the top couple of feet, they'd be thin, and you could see the fish swimming around in the waves.
Wow.
Nice. But it's a lot different than Florida. It's a different kind of water.
Yeah. Looks like this here is Angel, our favorite dog, hanging out the window of the chicken coop, and then a 1050 pass like you were talking about earlier. And The 87 octane really intrigues me. That's really cool because I mean it's got a blower on it and stuff. So like typically, guys run those on near race gas or actual race gas. But you're 2,500 miles into this trip, run a 1056 and on 87 octane. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I wasn't planning on racing. So I'd actually try to top off because it's 85 octane at the pumps out there out west.
Mm.
And so, but I had some 91 at the last pump and I was able to get about, 4 gallons in there out of 16. So I've got 85 with a tiny bit of 91. But then when I realized this event was so monumental, especially in our journey, our personal journey, I was like, I'm watching Reggie go down the track. I couldn't stand anymore. I'm like a heroin addict trying to get a fix. So
yeah, me too. Sitting there watching. I hate just sitting there watching.
yeah, I didn't get permission to tell you who helped me, but someone pulled a string and said, hey, I've got a friend that entered, didn't bring her car. As long as you don't try to compete, we'll let you make a pass under that person's number.
Wow.
I'm like, all right. Well, anyway, I was able to take this information to David Freiberger, and I'm just joking around with him and Sam Strube. I said, hey guys, I want to run that coupe. And they're like, so you want to lose, huh? I was like, look, I'll bet you $1,000 that my coupe against yours. I said, and when you win, I said, all you have to do is follow me back in that street car of yours to collect your $1,000. And they're
Yeah, it's at my house. You got to come get it.
yeah, they're like, you're not right. I was like, well, it's a little cheap shot, but I had to do it because my car's treatable. You know what I mean? And so I thought it was going to run a low 11. I hadn't looked at the plugs. I burned so much oil on that trip. I got loose gaps, loose ring tolerances, but the plugs hadn't been filthy. But about 8 psi on 87 octane, cleaned them right off.
Yeah.
Say your burnout
Got all-
cleaned them off.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
burnout definitely cleaned them off.
That's awesome. All right, so give us the rundown here. We got there's a
That was
couple
at the
pictures
track.
here.
Yeah,
At the
stayed
track,
the night
cool.
at the track. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a super nice track, man. It was so clean and manicured, and it was a really nice place.
And the people, the California hot rod scene, man, it's just like your Drag and Drive family. They just welcome you in, open arms. It was awesome.
That's cool.
And I
That
even
looks like-
got to run my dad's car. I did a pass. They let me run a pass, and they interviewed me, and I got to tell my dad's story with the car there over the loudspeaker. So it was really cool to be able to share
Wow.
dad's car as well.
That's pretty neat, man. And looks like this next photo is from there. This shot here, dude. That's great, man.
Yeah, that was the next day, and that might have been Tuesday after we left Livy and Danny's. We just ran down Pacific Coast Highway for an hour or two, and then I think somewhere around Laguna Beach we took a left and started heading back to Arizona.
We had
Yeah.
long conversations at the gas stations about how much more driving we can do. What do you actually add on to this crazy trip? Because you got to get in the good scene.
Yeah.
Highway 1, you can't get enough of it. I'm telling you
Wow.
that. Man, mind blowing.
Well, and just to be right there, I mean, really, like, I don't know, that shot to me may have been my favorite shot of the one you guys sent over. I'm gonna have to go back through and dig through all of the pictures on Jason's Facebook page for sure.
Yeah, we had some good shots, but I might have to make that my screenshot.
Yeah, I would think so.
I like that.
Yeah, I enjoyed the hot rod part of it, but I really enjoyed watching Scott's 66 vet go down there because you knew. I mean, that's what it did back in the day. Run up and down the
Yeah.
beach.
That's what
Yeah.
that car was built for. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Convertible Corvette, man. It was there to be
Yeah,
just awesome.
I enjoyed watching him a lot.
Yeah.
Now, and what's crazy is all of our cars are so different, but yet it doesn't matter. It's
It matters a little bit. You have fenders.
yeah.
If you just cut the fenders off, Scott,
Yeah. I know.
we could be friends.
Yeah, maybe cut them off the orange car.
I threatened to do that one time because I just wasn't getting accepted. I got to get a Sawzall in that orange car.
I don't know if you guys mentioned it all, but how long was the trip start to finish?
Holy moly!
So
2 weeks and 2 days. I
You
think
gotta look
2
at
weeks and 2
the top.
days.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was thinking 15 days, but it may have been.
Yeah, I think it was
16.
16.
No,
Okay.
it was 2.5, just under 2.5.
Wow.
So
That's awesome.
That's so cool. That is
Yeah,
so
and
cool.
my wife's like, "When are you getting back so you can collect money at the shop? You're like got no money." I'm like, okay.
Yeah,
That's
that's
how I knew how many days it was because I've already heard that a few times.
Like, yep.
Just
Like,
saying.
yeah, can people just Venmo your account or something?
Yeah.
We got bills. Like,
So, and
sorry,
one other
don't
thing,
have
Mike,
any connection.
we didn't talk about was Vegas. You know, how do you stay in Vegas for cheap, right? And so this gets into, for me, gas money was my biggest expense, a little over $1,000. But the Vegas part, I was fortunate to be retired military. So I stayed in the campground on a tent site for $9 a night.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
So, and we have a good friend that's a musician there in Vegas. And so Reggie got to crash at his place. Scott was in the honeymoon mode. Him and his wife were both there together. So that's a good time.
She flew in because she wasn't good at riding a car. She flew in, got the room, and I'm like warm bed, wife's there, and then after she left, I got food poisoning from White Castle, and I missed the last 2 days of the show. I'm like,
Yeah, we didn't mention Nick drove all the way up from Arizona just
oh,
to
that's
hang
right.
out with us.
Yep.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, Nick came up and we got to do SEMA. Oh, he became one of my employees as well.
Nice.
Oh,
That's always good.
Drag and Drive community. I don't know if you knew this, Mike. I'm walking up to the SEMA show and I stay outside a lot because the dog and everything else. And we went in the show. Some people knew her. Nobody knew me. But as I'm walking my dog up to the giant burnout competition at SEMA, here comes this wicked turbocharged LS Opel, or not Opel, yeah, Pacer.
Oh, yeah.
Empty Pacer comes up, just
Oh,
rattles
yeah.
the gas, and it's Chris Story. His
Yeah.
gorgeous mustache.
Yeah, just out of the blue, man.
Yeah, and he's like, hey, what? I never expected to see you and Angel here. And this was after, how you want to say, me and Reggie got in real good with one of the guys at the parking garage, and he took super good care of us, letting us park right on the front strip and everything. And then I see Chris Story. So anyway, I felt like a celebrity. I felt like,
Yeah,
Frank
you are a
Sinatra
celebrity.
walk up and know who I am. But no,
Yeah, I
me and
couldn't
Chris
believe
Story
he
were
was still
hanging out.
there after last year and didn't remember us when we pulled in.
Yeah,
That's a lot of time for somebody to keep a job nowadays, a whole year. But he said,
So
yeah,
anyway,
come on in. I got your spot for you. I'm going to take care of you.
lots of cool pieces to be on the other side of the country and be running into these people I know. And it was awesome, man.
And then that next night, or no, it was that night, we went to the restaurant and you had the lady that those guys stop you that knew Angel from Sick Week, right?
And they were from, hold on,
Germany.
Sweden.
Oh, okay. I was thinking of Mike.
And they knew Gustafsson and all those guys, right?
Wow.
Yep, exactly. And so anyway, I will see them again next Sick Week. So,
Yep.
it's gonna be cool.
2 months.
Yep, exactly. That's right around the corner, man.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. All right. So looks like some desert photo here. I really enjoyed this shot because of what I would consider the drastic difference in these two hot rods.
Yeah.
Both cars will do a burnout, and in my mind, that makes it a hot rod. But man, like both of these cars making the trip, this is pretty neat. So where are you guys at here?
Go ahead, Scott.
We had stopped. Anyway, we had stopped in Phoenix for the night, and Reggie had stayed in around
Emmett.
LA. Just
Emmett.
Okay.
Yeah.
His cousin was down there, so he stayed, and me and Jason went ahead and rolled on out to Phoenix. We were gonna go to Nick's house, but it got late and we were tired, and I had family in Phoenix, and so I messaged. They said, hey, beer and pizza, let's go. Stopped at their house, had a great visit. And then this was the next morning, and we took a southern route off of I-10 out of Phoenix, and then we caught this state park on this 2-lane road, and great overlook of the mountains and the cactus and all that stuff. And
Bring
Jason's
me
on the
the
radio.
idea
Hey, I
of
need to get a picture of a
magazine.
cactus, and I don't know what it was with a cactus, but we took about 20 pictures of cactus.
Roadrunner and Coyote.
Okay,
Hello.
there you go. Yeah. But this is at a state park, and they let us in, and both of us are prior military, so it was like what, $3 or something to get in, and we just kind of drove around a little bit, and we knew we were kind of slowing down to let Reggie catch up, and so from here we went on out to Nick Derry's house in just outside of Tucson. What is it, Vale? And
Yeah.
then there was a bunch of other pictures when Joe and Ernie and everybody showed up. But this was on the way. We just had a nice little. Usually it's about a 3-hour drive from Phoenix down to Tucson, but I think we took about 5 or 6 with the little scenic route and all that.
Lots of stops. It added 20 minutes of driving, but that's the moral story. If you add that back highway stretch and you get in 2 more hours of absolutely jaw-dropping, because there's just one thing about being in your car and no other cars on the road, and you can see 8 miles in front of you.
Yeah.
You're
Oh
the
yeah,
only one.
there were stretches that we could see 20, 30 miles going up the mountain or whatever, you know.
And we're the only cars on the whole highway.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
And for my fuel pump issue, it's not always a good thing.
But I mean, listen, you couldn't be with 2 better dudes to fix something on the side of the road. You know.
Oh yeah. And
That
we
would
could
make-
all,
Yeah, we can both take pictures.
yeah.
All right. What do we got going on in this one?
Okay, you got to watch the video on my YouTube for that one, or on not YouTube, on Facebook for that one, because I zoom out and I talk about we finally found the world's largest pistachio. Now we need the world's largest peanut. Next, we're going to be going for the largest ball of yarn, and lastly, the largest grasshopper feces, which I'm not sure if they're in that order. But
How do you
something
come
about
up
those
with
giant
this?
roadside tacky stands. I love that. World's largest, whatever it is. I got to stop.
Mhm.
I have to have a picture.
That's cool. Where was this at?
That was on the way up to Roswell.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah, I don't even remember what town that was.
just
I'll-
Google
I'll-
world's largest pistachio. You'll find. it.
how what is it, Artemuguardo, or I don't know if I'm saying it right.
Well, again, if you on that same post that I just did, I posted it this morning. I finally got them all done. And if you go to my Facebook, I actually got in a street race with this old white, I think it was a Ford pickup. All I cared about is he had a little kid, 3 years old, maybe 2 or 3, in the passenger seat with the biggest grin on his face. And we weren't racing. We were bouncing the throttle from red light to red light. That little kid at one point looked at me like, my dad just blew your doors off. And man, it just made me smile for the next 3 hours.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I captured it on film too. It was cool.
That's
Hey,
awesome.
hey, I'm backing up a few miles back to Las Vegas. We're walking down one of the aisles, and they got this catalog here. I don't know if you can see it.
Mhm.
Check that out. Can you see it? Yeah.
Oh man, that's the shot right there.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
on the I Did It, all of us. Well, Nick, Scott's not, but
Yeah, me and
Scott
Nick.
took a detour that day.
Yeah,
it was
took
more of a
detour.
hot rod picture, not a Corvette khaki short kind of thing.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's a great shot. Did Chris get that? Is that one of his shots?
No, that was that. was
Megan did that.
Megan Taylor. That's right. Yep.
But Chris
Was it
got
Megan
that
or
shot
Chris?
right after that?
Was it Chris? I don't know.
No, it was Megan, and Chris got
Yeah.
the shot just about an hour later. That
Yeah,
ended
yeah,
up on
yeah.
the back of the T-shirt for Rocky Mountain Race Week.
That's
So-
right.
That was just one of those days during Rocky Mountain Race Week where the photography was off the chain. It was some cool photos, and they got used in some big ways.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
All right,
this is
where we
one of
at
my
here?
Favorite stops.
This was a trip right here, man. This
Yeah.
was such a fun stop.
It was in
Pulled up to
Post.
the stoplight, and I'm smelling this barbecue, man, somewhere to my right. And we had to get gasoline, so we took a left and turned in the gas station. And I kept saying, "Man, I am smelling barbecue. We're gonna have to find it." So we kind of took off down the street, and sniffing our way there. And these guys were a block off of the road, and evidently that was their house, and they had put a little shed up front a long time ago and sold out of it. And then now they're adding on. You can see in the picture there.
Yeah.
but just an incredible stop, man. We had such a good time there. And
Yeah, the name of the
barbecue
town
was
was
good too.
Post Texas, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Post Texas.
Yep.
Reggie, you did a YouTube video on that, and I just put a post on about it. If you want to check those people out, that was like Americana, the
Yeah, 100%.
iconic. It was great. It was an amazing stop. Amazing.
And they
the
called the
ones-
newspaper, and the newspaper
Yeah.
come out to take pictures of us.
Yeah.
How cool, man.
This was cool.
Yeah. I'm like, wow, we must be really in a small town if they want to take pictures of us.
But the guy's name, well, anyway, it was just a cool place.
It was
There's lots of
it was,
neat named foods on the menu.
what was the name of the restaurant? Smoking
Smoking-
Dick's.
Smoking Dick's. Yeah,
Yeah.
barbecue.
I can only imagine.
Yeah, they had
Yes,
some
you
crazy
can.
names in the sandwiches. Yeah.
And he was loving it. His wife was right there laughing about it too.
He
She
was going
said
to put
she was-
some of his barbecue in nachos, he said, and the name would have been Nacho Dick's.
But he said his wife wouldn't let him do that name, so
Yeah, she said we had to draw the line somewhere.
That's funny.
Instead
But we
of,
had-
I was trying to get Jason to get a plate of the Dickaroni.
I tell you, what was that potato called? Dick Spud or something? No, Dictator. The Dictator.
Yeah.
It's a baked potato the size of a football.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean,
you know,
was-
with barbecue.
It was good stuff, but
It wasn't expensive at all, man.
how cool. Yeah, Rodney
Oh,
Rich
cool.
here said we
Somebody
stopped
stopped
there on the
there
way.
on the way out. That's neat.
yeah.
Say again, Mike.
Rodney Reeves said we stopped there on the way home from 666.
Oh,
That's
cool.
cool.
Oh, nice. But
Well, we
their
need to-
barbecue was good.
We need to let all the Dragon Drives know that place needs to be mentioned, coming and going, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And we had so many people from that town that they must have been calling each other and saying, "Hey,
Yeah.
you need to come over here," because we had high school students, we had older generations showing up just talking to us. So yeah, it was a great stop, and it was just in the middle of nowhere.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's really cool.
An oil town.
I'm assuming this is in Roswell.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
crazy. I got that sticker that says "Ask me about my butthole." Yeah,
Yeah,
I didn't
I don't
get
think
that.
I included that one on this one.
yeah.
On these photos. That was a good one, though.
Now, I don't know if you got it, Mike, but going into Roswell is where we had the close encounter with that herd of deer.
Oh yeah,
We-
holy crap!
We were calling them elk at first, but they were mule deer. There's a big deer out there. And
Yeah, hang on. I've got that shot. I'm just trying to figure out where it is so I don't have to.
there's a
take people
video
on
of it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I the only video I put up was the hotel, the
Okay.
hotel at Sam's Club.
So the video
the-
basically shows Reggie's car with blue lights going off behind it because it looks like he's getting pulled over. But no, we're behind this two small cars. One of them's a SUV, right? The deer come racing across the road. I'm sure it wasn't because of Reggie's pipes, you know.
Yeah,
Um,
not at all.
But the buck who was leading the
How are you
track,
gonna blame that on me?
the buck, the big one, goes right out in front of it was a cop car in front of us.
And we
the
didn't know it was a
cop
cop. We just thought it was an SUV.
Yeah, he creamed this thing. So once he gets pulled over the road, we pull over to help him. Next thing you know, blue lights go off, and we're like, "Oh crap! That was the cop." Antifreeze pouring out of his front end. He can't open his door. It creamed the front end. So
And the
This
spray,
was bad.
the spray from everything, we're dodging deer and guts.
oh,
So
whole side of his car, this deer's intestines had exploded on. This
Oh,
deer is emptied out. So it's already gutted, right? Reggie's like, was it a buck? And I traced it down. I said, it's a buck. And so Reggie's like, I want a saw. I want an antler.
get the hacksaw. Let's get the hack.
Guys are laughing. Go ahead. Tell what you get out of the shot.
I'm grabbing a fillet knife. I'm getting the back strap. We're gonna have deer. We're getting ready to skin it right there on the side of the road. And the cop's like, "Oh no, the game and wildlife or whoever has to come and
Yeah, they said we could do what we wanted to after that, but we didn't want to wait.
yeah.
What was neat for me was pretty much 95 or 99% of the time I'm in the lead. In this one time, I'm in the very back, and we were spaced out of, I don't know, maybe an eighth mile a long line, so we weren't right on each other's bumper. So, and it's dark, and I'm watching the guys in front of it, and I'd already told them because I've hit a bunch of deer, and you probably have too up there in Missouri, but down here we got them everywhere, and I've hit quite a few. So I'm leery of driving at nighttime, especially in my little car here with it don't have nothing on the front of it. And I'd already said to them a couple of times, we need to stop driving in the middle of the night because there's deer all over out here. We're just not seeing them.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I'm back here, and all of a sudden I see a couple of them run in front of the first car, and then another run in front of that SUV, and he just busted that dude. And then 2 or 3 ran up between Scott and the SUV, and then 2 or 3 ran in between Jason and Scott. And I'm watching all this going on back there because it's like big shadows are coming by. But man, it was incredible just for a few seconds, man. Because I mean, I can't even imagine if one of them had hit that vet.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, our cars, they're not whatever, but the vet, that's a different
Yeah.
deal. So.
It'd have been a lot of duct tape getting it back on the road.
And what was funny, we'd been running about 65 and 70, and then after this all happened, Scott's leading, and we're heading into town. It's about, 10 miles down the road, and we didn't even get over 45 miles an hour, man. I know he was still shook up. I was, crud.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I
and
hate
that's
getting
one of the
dispatched,
hardest
man.
thing is like, headlights on hot rods aren't necessarily meant for nighttime driving.
No,
Well,
not my
Reggie's
radiator either.
Reggie's is great for hunting because his one headlight points to the culvert over to the right side of the road. So
Yeah, it depends
he's
on
already
what bump
spotting
I
for
hit.
deer.
Yes, that's exactly right. All right. So, Roswell, and then I included this shot here because I thought this was pretty cool. You're running 76 miles an hour, man. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, but we had been at 87 down there too.
Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty impressive as you're cruising along down through the roads there in the old hot
But
rods.
last year, me and the Hummer had 3 digits on there, man. We were sucking it up. It was fun.
With that
I'm
gear,
ready to go
so-
again, This place was incredible. This was in Flagstaff. The breakfast, holy moly.
Yeah.
And then
Is that this place here, same spot?
yeah, it ain't food if it ain't fried, baby. Man, that place was good.
Wow. Yeah, the only reason I include this is because I want to talk about food for a minute. So kind of walk us through like what you guys eat on this trip. I see here you got some bologna rolls on the other side. Then you got like this, full blown American breakfast right here or meal. That's not even breakfast. That's a meal.
Yeah, I had eaten there last year, and I told Jason we had to go by there, and sure enough, they didn't let us down. The steak might have been something wrong with it, but other than that, it was incredible. I think the steak stuck with us for a day or so. It didn't stick with us. That's the deal. It didn't stick with us.
Rule of thumb though on food was mom and pop joints. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Locally owned establishments. Now Veterans
Always.
Day, Denny's hooked us up on Veterans Day with the was it Big Slam or what do they call that?
Grand Slam.
Grand Slam. And then was very fortunate In-N-Out Burger, which we don't have in the East. They hooked us up also Veterans Day lunch. So
Wow.
those were the chain restaurants that I'm proud to say that they were taking care of veterans. And the rest of the trip, we were taking care of locally owned mom and pop joints.
How
In
cool.
Las
And when we
Vegas, we
camped
like
out-
eating at the Pepper Mill. It's right there next to the convention center. And it's just it's got a real neat vibe, man. Kind of like back in the Playboy days, little kind of looking around for Hugh Hefner. And it's pretty cool in there. And the food's incredible too. But it's the same every year, man. That place is something else. But it's just
And
a
then
block or so from the convention center.
Yeah, I had a good time at that restaurant too. It was just a nice place to go, and then
Giant burgers.
we were,
I'll
we
tell
were
you.
cooking for breakfast and stuff like that, eggs and tacos and stuff like that if we were cooking ourselves. But
One of
a
the
lot of
best,
the mom and pop stuff.
best hangouts though was at Danny and Olivia's. So they're into the tiki bar and the beach scene.
Oh, that
So they
drink
do
was
these-
something else.
Oh, they mixed up this tiki rum drink that had I don't know, all exotic rum from some small island that they hand built or something. I don't know. It was like crazy. But yeah, Scott looks up at the camera on the one film and he goes, "What'd you say? Your legs don't, or my back doesn't hurt?"
Oh yeah, my
anymore."
back didn't hurt
Jeez,
anymore. I was
nothing's
like,
hurting
wow.
anymore.
But man, between their music and the little rum drinks and all the hot rods and the ambiance, that was one of the best stops.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're camped out. We're sitting there, and we got Tri-5 sitting there. We got was it the Buick or is that was
The
that
wagon.
old?
Le Mans, Pontiac.
Yeah, the Pontiac. And
That
here
was
I
her
am laying.
LS Pontiac.
Yeah, and
Oh
I'm
man, I
laying there.
didn't put that photo in there. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah,
Oh, that's okay.
I'm laying there on the floor, going to sleep, and I'm looking at the exhaust pipes of a Pontiac, and I'm like, this is just too cool, you know.
And he was liking it so much he was trying to imitate the exhaust pipe noise too.
I don't know that's Jason. That
No,
was
that-
Angel.
That was all that nachos you ate that day.
Man.
So did you guys have like grills and stuff with you then? So you guys were able to cook?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's one thing. I was able to take my little trailer that I set up for Dragon Drive. It has a smoker, burners, oven. I've got the flip over tabletop that's got the well, Scott broke out his old school double burner. We were doing breakfast burritos. One day on the base, I wasn't sharing with the guys, but man, I did some massive pork chops on that thing. There's just grilling and doing up the potatoes. That's half the trip. You guys know,
Yeah.
you've seen us at the
And
Dragon.
of course, when you started cutting the potatoes, the first thing you do is cut your finger.
Oh yeah, that was
And
dumb.
so we've got bloody potatoes the first night at the drag strip. So
Somebody ate part of my finger.
He was okay with the barbecue sauce on it.
yeah, you didn't know about it.
Yeah, it's fine.
So I don't know if you're gonna ask Mike, but we'll finish, or at least mention, because this is where I don't know. I'm super proud of the car. We don't have a lot of money and budgets and all that, but our cars, Reggie, what you had an alternator go out? It was a brand new alternator, bad out of
Yeah,
the box.
first day pretty much. Alternator went
Yeah.
out, and then 30 minutes down the road, the belt busted.
Right.
And that was it for the whole trip.
And Scott had a brand new fuel pump that he installed day one that lasted 3,200 miles, and then he replaced it with the spare that he already had in his trunk.
Wow.
Yep.
The only thing I had was a headlight relay, which is the only part I didn't have in my spares because I knew every part store carried one
Mhm.
until you're in Vegas. Then you go to 3 part stores and none of them have one. But it was a standard Bosch headlight relay or fog light relay. So I did get one at the store, popped it in the car. That was it. I mean, it's one of those parts where when it fails, you just take the 2 wires off, jump them, and keep driving.
Mhm.
But it'd been on there 17, 18 years. The blower belt that I've had on there for, it had 25,000 miles on it, and it was 20 years old.
Wow.
That blower
And-
belt finally went out, and Scott looks at me, he goes, "You going to keep running it?" I said, "I can. It's just missing some teeth." He goes, "What's your gas mileage without the blower belt?" I said, "I don't know. Let's check."
Yep.
And I went from 13.6 to 14.3
Without
Come
a
on.
blower belt.
without the blower belt, but I had to drive it slower. I had to drive
Yeah.
like 65 to get that, but I bumped it on up to 75 and was still getting 13.6 with no blower belt.
Wow.
So.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
imagine that would create some super long runner intake kind of style.
Yeah, it's a real lag. You don't get into the throttle hard and fast, but
I used a half a quart out there and a half a quart of oil back home.
Wow.
Well,
Yeah.
let's just say I think I used a whole jug of GTX, and my chassis is not going to rust. So we've got the what is it, a chainsaw oiler? I've got the chassis lubricator. So we're
Mine too. I'm not going to deny that.
good.
My
There's nothing wrong with that.
transmission- Yeah, my tail shaft seal's leaking on my transmission. So Jason's got rear end grease in his windshield, and so does Scott.
yeah, it's kind of like Rain-X, only not.
Only not.
Yeah.
Only the other opposite. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
the bugs
well-
don't stick.
I got
Right.
antifreeze all over my car because rock flew up, hit the radiator, got a tiny pinhole, and one of those that all you do is pinch it shut with pliers, and then loosen the cap.
Mhm.
But in the meantime, it was enough that everything's on there sticky with antifreeze. But considering 5,000 miles in those cars, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm super proud of what we were able to do.
Yeah,
Well,
I like
and-
what Joseph just said.
Yeah, says Reggie Moore, you leaked a court in Nick's driveway.
It wasn't the leaking. That was what was dripping off of the frame.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about this right here because I love the through the window, down the road in a hot rod shot. So we've got this one here, but then also this one here that's got some rain on it. So walk us through where you guys are, what's going on here.
The rain, we were probably somewhere in Texas, Oklahoma. It rained hard there for about that day. Man.
Well, what I'm seeing in those pictures is notice how dark it is in that photo. Go to the other photo. Okay, that one's a little lighter, but it gets better. In some of the photos, you'll see it's very bright in there because with the rain coming, Reggie does keep an eye on the radar. He duct taped a giant styrofoam roof on the car
Oh, nice.
for
Yep.
that rain. And,
Yep.
and the minute it stopped raining, he ripped that sucker off, man.
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
what I like about the organ grinder too. Is like it's true hot rod, man. It is true hot rod.
I don't know about that. It's a
I
That's
rode
pretty
with
good.
him.
car, man.
I
Oh.
actually rode with him in Vegas Strip. So we all rode down the strip
Oh,
and together in different cars. But yet one night I rode with Reggie, and I'm riding on a floorboard because he doesn't have a passenger seat. So I've got a roll cage bar in my kidney and sitting on the floor. And I don't know how these guys do it. You know, I driving the vet, I was like in a Cadillac, you know.
mhm.
I'm riding in the organ grinder and it does live up to the name. All right.
Oh yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
like, you have got some, let's just say, backbone.
It was
drive.
it's brutal, but you know, in for a moment, you know, you're thinking I am not doing it in this car again. But since I've been back, I can't wait to go again, man. And I'm
Yeah.
already, you know, planning on next year's trip.
Right.
Yeah,
Well,
and the other thing, you don't think about it because when you're in Reggie's car, and I did the same thing. I got to ride with him down the strip because Reggie's is the most rowdy by far. Absolutely.
yeah.
Especially, I got my quiet pipes on, so my car's like a sissy. It's embarrassing, you know. His car's rattling the walls, shaking up the casinos, and everyone is coming out on like balconies and over the overweight bridges, and they're all got the phones out. It's paparazzi central, and
yeah.
so you really don't, even though, yes, it's brutal and painful and you need a tetanus shot when you get out.
They're all trying to decide if they need to take a picture or call the cops. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're taking pictures and videos. That's I tell you, the organ grinder really makes me want to build something bare bones, not rowdy. You
Hey,
know,
I'm
just
telling you
something
this,
that's
like,
fun.
there's nothing on it to break. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
The few things that it has that are all function, you know, can be welded back.
Yeah, and
That's it.
Eventually.
I'll tell them about the repair we had to make on the frame.
Oh, tell them about the repair
Oh, I
on the
forgot about that.
and the header.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now,
the header pipe. Hey,
I'll
I had to
I'll
safety
do
wire
the
that back on.
So the frame one is this, okay? Because I like brag on how I like to say we did a good job, but man, God was looking out for us. Because Reggie's driving and there's making some odd noise, and it was a different noise. But when he crawled under that car, he said, Jason, I would never have seen the crack on that frame. And this is where his front suspension's tied in. He said, but like God shined a light through it. The sun was setting and the light illuminated through the crack.
We were
That
right
was-
through the crack.
And so he saw it. We were able to diagnose it fast and get pulled over safely. You know what I mean? It was like, so the difference was we needed a welder or we could re-drill and reinstall the bars. But man, had we not seen that, that could have been ugly. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
It is a
Yeah,
risky
'cause the
business.
roads were brutal. Holy moly! Everybody on 666 knows that.
Yeah, oh, yeah. That was a rough one. Well, let's
You gotta
run
wonder
through
where all the highway tax money goes.
Yeah, it don't go to Route 66, that's for sure. Well,
No.
run us through a couple of things here. What's going on in this photo? Looks like somebody's got their car covered up, but I can't tell whose it is.
That's the bungalow
Can't
hut.
tell. I don't know who that is.
Yeah, that's Reggie's. That's Reggie's room for the night. So what he does is he lifts the sidewalls or the top up and throws a blankets and tarps over in case it rains. And of course, the organ grinder's in the front with a car cover over it.
But
But
there's a actual canopy, or what do you call it? A cot inside there.
Oh,
Electric
gotcha.
heater,
Okay.
generator. Yeah, he's staying warm and dry.
I
Yeah,
dig
man.
it, man.
And then
I dig
I'm
it.
on the left with my trailer, and of course that was the next morning.
But Scott's sleeping inside the Corvette trailer now. He turned
Right.
it into a miniature what do you call
Teardrop.
it? Teardrop, yeah.
Yeah, so I saw that in the video. You had kind of had that area cleaned out on the side. So do you just throw a foam mattress down or something, or what?
Yeah,
What's
I've got my wife gave me we had an extra memory foam that's for like a single bed, you
Mhm.
know,
Oh,
and
that's perfect.
so I just lay it out, and I've got some of those what is it, Harbor Freight moving blankets I put down
Yeah.
just for an air barrier,
Yep.
and then
And
a
you put
sleeping
a
bag on top of that. And when it
That's
was
cool.
really cold, I had one of those was a little heater buddies, Heater Buddy, whatever that is, with
Mhm.
a propane tank. That I opened the passenger door and pointed in because I'm not going to put a propane tank.
Yeah, I was like, hold on, guys. Just close
So
that door and keep the heat in.
yeah, so no, when it got cold, I'd run a generator for Reggie, and he'd run a little tiny ceramic heater, and then I had the Mr. Buddy, or what, the little buddy
Oh,
heater,
cool.
and we did great. This night was Albuquerque, right before we got into Albuquerque, and
Yeah.
when we showed the pictures of the sunrise, that was the next morning in this spot, and that one right there, and that place was great. It had little picnic areas off the
Yeah, that was a
rest
nice
area.
park.
Yeah,
We didn't even mention Walt Schaefer. I'd actually went to visit one of my military buddies.
Yep.
So I went ahead another 40, 50 miles and got to hang out at Walt Schaefer's. That's another thing Reggie got to put on his YouTube channel was that visit. And Mike,
that
you
was
inspired the
incredible.
name. What'd you call that name of it, Reggie? You called it something ridiculous roadside renter views or something.
Oh yeah. Me and Michael had talked about that a while back. Random roadside, and I couldn't think of another word with the R, so I just said renter views.
I like it.
Go back and change
Oh,
that.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that was
let's see here.
there you go.
Cadillac
Cadillac
Ranch.
Ranch.
How cool.
and
We didn't
again,
walk out there because that was when we got there was like an hour after it finished raining, and it
I
was
walked out
just like a
there.
lake out there.
I walked out there because I'd never been there. My shoes gained about a pound each. Had to clean them off. But this picture, it's such a contrast of vehicles, but yet it's just it's all of us together running out there. And yes, we had our disagreements, and it's just like any other thing. But man, what a fun time that we had, and I'm glad you guys drugged me out to California. So.
Right on. Yeah, definitely.
Did you guys plan all these route stops, or were they just kind of last minute?
Plan? What's that?
Some of them were planned. I wanted to make
we
sure Scott came by the Cadillac place because he hadn't been there yet.
Right.
And I wanted to do a lot more Route 66, but we ended up just going on.
If we had everything in that we wanted to do, we would still be out there.
Yeah, we'd still be out there.
Yeah, we'd still be there.
Oh, so the stop right after this one at my buddy Walt's, here's a guy I used to drag race with in 1992, 93. He brings us into our home like family, makes huge breakfast for all of us, right? And
Yeah.
we're in his garage. Scott gets to pull the Corvette into a garage on the lift just to inspect the fuel filters. We're looking for a reason these fuel pumps are failing, and you can't find a reason. But it was great. There's a supercharged big block Chevelle, same car I used to race up against. It's a small block Camaro, his wife's car. He's got the Corvettes. They had a 9-second LS nitrous Mustang. I know Eric will like that.
Oh yeah.
And this is this is all at my buddy's house. So this is just one of many stops where we weren't hitting hotels. We were hitting much better stops than hotels.
How cool.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw this, but he said Joseph says these guys don't plan anything.
Well, if we plan it, it's a last minute amendment or a change. So, yeah,
What I
This was
learned in
at
the
the-
military. a
This
plan-
picture was at the gas squatch, right, pretty much an hour or so after we left here in Arkansas.
So the plan is just the point to deviate from. That's all.
Exactly.
There you go. I like that. All right. Well, I think that ends all the
Oh, it's
photos. This
9
was the last
o'clock.
one.
Man, thanks
What's-
for having us on here, y'all.
Yeah, man, that's awesome.
Oh yeah, it was a ton of fun.
Yeah, this was
We had a
this
good
is a
time.
long time in the making. You guys have needed to be on the show several different times just to tell the stories over the years. You know, that's probably one of the hardest things we have with the show is like, man, how do we get to everybody and win and all that kind of cool stuff. I
Well, the
appreciate
thing-
you guys coming on tonight too.
Yeah, the thing I noticed is you have all these guys that are driving fast cars, so there's not really room for us.
Oh, whatever.
But anyway, I really
Yeah,
would like
or
to do
with-
this. We're going to do this trip again next year, and it really would be neat if, I mean, a lot of other people went, man. I mean,
Oh yeah.
it could be like a sick week, but, you know, thousands of dollars cheaper, you know.
Yeah.
I mean,
What would be
66, whatever.
well, and what could be really fun is for folks to even just grab a couple days. You know, like if you had kind of a plan of where you're going to be, hey, look, we're going to be here on Tuesday, jump in and cruise
Jump.
with us for 2 days and go home.
Yeah, that's what I was talking to Matt about last year, was having
Yeah.
like a big long race and just having, you know, where people could qualify to race with us at that particular track we were coming to if they met us a certain spot 150 miles out or something and rode in with us. But, you know, that would be neat to get a lot more people to go with us next year.
But like Mike and I were saying, it's hard to get everybody in on stories on a show like this. And Mike,
Right.
your problem is that you have so many race car friends. You know, I mean, it's a
That's-
blessing and a
yeah.
curse, right?
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah,
you
we
do have
definitely do have a lot of race car friends.
You have a great circle, brother. Yeah.
Well, we
what
appreciate
you
it.
do.
And I just
Well.
want to say I feel honored for you inviting us in and just telling our stories. And I wanted to share my dad's car story, and
Yeah.
this is an awesome place to do it. And thank you for letting me share.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you bet. I love the history behind all of these cars. You know, I mean, these cars are special to everybody. And what's really cool is like those cars, hopefully through some of these stories that we tell over the years, will be cool to the next person that ends up with that car as well, and the next and the next. You know, we're hot rodders are generational people, and what's really cool is we're literally what 2 generations of hot rodders in now. You know, like I mean, the 40s really kind of kicked that off, and you know, a lot of times that's my grandparents or maybe my great grandparents, and then so I'm 2 generations from that. So it's pretty cool to think like, what's 30 or 40 years from now going to be, and the organ grinder's still going to be kicking around, and the chicken coop, and the vets, and all that kind of stuff because of what you guys do and the stories you tell. So it's pretty cool, man.
Well, you made that comment about nobody runs carburetors anymore, but we all three run carburetors. So
I say I don't run carburetors. Yeah. Yeah, there's a ton of really cool carburetor stuff, and I think we're really seeing a resurgence in people trying to do stuff that's not easy, which is what this trip was really about. Like what y'all did was not easy. You didn't jump in a rental
I'll
minivan.
second that.
yeah, it was not easy.
So I think there's a lot of folks that are looking for an adventure, and carburetors are definitely an adventure, especially if you're running 85 octane and a boosted setup and trying to get 14 miles a gallon.
It just takes 2 or 3 years to get it right. Then after that, it's easy.
Then after that, it's just adjustments.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, what's cool about carburetors, you don't have an ECM you have to worry about filling.
Yeah.
Just fuel pumps.
Just fuel pumps.
Just that small toolbox you guys are selling. It's true. All you need is a wallet-sized box of tools.
Yep.
And you can fix anything.
Yeah, I love the WAF setup. That's such a great idea. And I mean, he did that. Yeah, he built it out of necessity because that's what he was carrying around with him. He had a whole half a toolbox full of drawers of that stuff, and so he built this. So it's pretty neat.
I don't think I could get all those pieces back in the right spot. I need a
No.
bigger box.
No, I need that box, but I need it to have a bag in it so I can put all the stuff that
Yeah.
I'm taking off in a bag and then sort it later.
Yep.
All right, well, guys, let us end the show. Stay on with us for just a minute because I'd love to talk to you after we close the show out and just talk about some next year plans and all that kind of stuff so we can get together.
Cool.
Thanks,
Love
Mike.
you,
Thanks,
man.
Eric.
Man.
do you
Yep.
guys
Thank
think?
you guys.
Love you, Mike. Love you, Eric. Thanks, brothers.
Thank you.
Man, how fun, dude. What a cool show. We don't typically do a whole round of folks that we spend an hour and a half with. Typically we don't do that. And I'm appreciative of those guys to take the time and spend that with us. That's pretty neat.
Well, yeah, how many times have we heard stories of people driving their race cars from, coast to coast like that as
Yeah.
well? So I think it deserved a whole show. I think it
Yeah.
probably could have been 2 more hours plus.
Oh yeah. Those guys were just getting wound up and telling those stories, It's
Right.
man, and there are hundreds of more photos we probably could have grabbed from their Facebook pages and stuff like that. So I beg people, please go find Reggie Moore, Jason Schaefer, and Scott Guthrie at Vets Unlimited. Go find those guys, watch their channels, watch their videos, watch their Facebook pages and Instagrams and all that kind of stuff, and YouTube channels. Reggie's got a budding YouTube channel for the Organ Grinder, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and hopefully this, just inspires other people to do the same thing. I mean, again, we talk about it all the time. Our goal is to get people in their cars and driving them more, and this is a perfect example of that.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Lead us out, sir.
Yep. Again, we had a great show tonight. I want to thank everybody that tuned in and watched and listened to all the stories. It was a great time. Thank you to all of our race car friends, everybody that was in here tonight. And also to our sponsors. Again, we can't put this show on without these people. So thank you to Summit Racing, Molly Motorsports, Driven Racing Oil, Car Chains 3D, WAF Racing, Performer Built Transmissions, J-Wire Solutions, Howard's Cam, Sweet Patina, Power Tube TV, and Racing Junk. We're coming up on Thanksgiving. We're coming up on the holidays, Black Friday. Please, if you guys are doing some shopping, check out our sponsors. Show them that their investment in us is worth it and go buy some parts for them. So, again, great show tonight. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. I hope everybody has a great Thanksgiving because we will not be having a show on Wednesday night, so we won't see you. So, everybody have a great Thanksgiving, and we'll see you guys on the next episode.
Yep. See you guys. Sweet.
Like this show? Want more? Then head to WatchPTTV.com, the new 100% free PowerTube TV streaming network. Home of the best classic and new motorsports racing and build shows on the web.